Good evening and welcome back to the Mindful Model Makers Workshop. Now, I have here, this is made by Gauge Master. It's powered by a 9-volt battery, which is in here, this end bit. And what it works, it creates static. So what you have is one half of the charge on this side and the other is on this clip, and I've got a pin in it because when it's wet and you put the pin in there and you sprinkle this over the top, then the static charge makes the grass kind of stand up like real grass. This there's loads of these on the market. This is just one that my kids bought me once, and I've used it several times, and it's a very invaluable thing for any kind of scenic work. So it has this cap on there to because you can keep stuff in there. There is a little bit of grass in there. It's a kind of a I'm not sure what the stuff is made out of, but you can get different colours for different things. I have this bag of a kind of a long mix, different colours, because you can get like autumn grasses, spring, everything is catered for. Now, when you load it in the top here, it's obviously all clumped up in a big plastic bag. Yeah, this is autumn 12mm. There's 50 grams of it. So it is 12mm long, okay? Which is about half an inch in old money. You need to kind of shred it down as much as you can, because then as you pull it apart and load it up, it comes out finer, because otherwise when it's in lumps, it's not going to come out through the mesh. I'll show you the mesh in a minute that goes on it. So you can load this up quite heavy. You can do it in several goes. I mean, I usually have 2 or 3 goes until it looks how I want it to go. There's lots and lots of YouTube videos on this. I'm only just obviously doing this, but you can see it's used for any kind of scenic. So it doesn't have to be just railways. It is predominantly used on railways. I've been using it for lots of things now. Even the grass on the loco shed that I'd done, the diesel shed, was done by using this actual machine. Now I've got a fair bit in there, as you can see. All right, now you have different kind, it's a bit like a sieve really, bits that can go over. You have very fine, which probably not too good. Got a very heavy mesh, or a medium. So I'm going to try the medium to start with and see what happens. So that just literally screws onto this bit here. That's it. So that's that. Now, the other thing you have to do is, oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this here, look, my paints are now in a nice neat container to keep them, because 1 or 2 people have said that perhaps I'm a wee bit messy. Well, no, I'm not a wee bit messy, I'm very messy, but that's the way I've always worked all my life with modelling. But I have an area, so it doesn't interfere with anyone else really. Right, shake up. This is the Pico layering spray, and what that is just really basically a glue, an adhesive, if that's what you want to call it. And I'm going to spray that on here, just in the general bit around there like so. Okay, put that to one side. Then I'm going to try and get this pin to go in to the wood. Now if it doesn't go in just like that, what I can do, I have my trusty little hammer here. I can just give that a tap and knock that in like so. Right, then on the side of this is a switch. You turn it on, a red light comes on. Now what you do is you then turn that up, hold it, and start kind of tapping it over the area where you want the grass. And you can see it's beginning to kind of stand up because of the static charge that's going through. This might take several passes to really give this the effect that you want. And of course that's why you put the green base on. I don't know if you can actually see that standing up, but it is. The charge is quite good really. And I'm just going to keep tapping it and tapping it until it starts putting the grass on. This is probably, I mean, in the old days when you did this, you'd have coloured sawdust that you sprinkled on. But now we've got this grass which we can put on. So I'm just going to do that for a little bit like so. And show you now what you've got. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try and bring the camera in. Let's move that out there on top of there. And I'm going to bring that down more into view so that you can see the grass. If I tip this up a bit, you'll see that it's kind of sticking up. So if you look at it like that, you can now see the grass as it is. Now around the edge, I could say hedge, I have brought this stuff. It's a kind of a rubberized, a lot of these things have been made. It's like the green kind of moss there. That's made out of a sponge type thing. It does show you, there are YouTube videos showing you how you can make that yourself. I just buy it, it's already dyed. It goes on there. It looks like a moss type thing. So to me, it looks good. So you can see now where that grass is not laying flat on there, and you look through there, it's looking like the real thing. Now, there's no real other way of getting that like that. And all I do with the rest of it is I will just load that back in. So what I'm going to do, I'll let that go off for a few minutes, and then I'll put a bit more spray on, because that's why it's called a layer spray, because what we're actually doing is layering the grass on. And I'll put a little bit round the back as well. You only really need to put that pin in because that's causing the static across that area. Because it's only a very small thing, that's not really going to cause them out. So while we're waiting for that to just dry off a little bit, I'm going to bring the camera back up a bit out of the way, like so. That's it. I'll get my anti-static machine. I think with that finer grid, it's not too bad. So I'll undo that now. And you can see in there, there's still quite a bit of it left. So what I'm going to do is just shred it out a little bit more. Just go over it again and just shred it out a bit more. And also, what got overspilt around the edge, I will just put that on, back in. So I think we could do a little bit more in there. I've got some mix stuff here as well. I might put some of that in. This is all sorts. Basically, it's all the rubbish. All the bits where I've done stuff before and I keep it. And I just chuck it in here because there's some different lighter colours. Obviously from an earlier in the summer kind of type grass as well. And I just mix things in. It doesn't really matter for this. It's a diorama. It's not set at any particular time of year. But if I've got to move my coffee here because it's growing grass. So there we are. Look, nice cup of coffee. Always good to have a drink while you're working, I think, anyway. Right, so I'm going to put the mesh. In fact, actually, I might try the bigger one. I'm going to go for the bigger one next. So I'll screw the bigger one on. You can see the difference in size on that. So that's going down on there like so. That'll just let more out. So you can see the difference between that one, and then a very fine one. But of course you might want the very fine one depending on what you're actually putting in. But this is a really good gadget as far as I don't know how much it costs because I had it bought for me, but it's been very useful. Right, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to spray a little bit more up there, a little bit more around there, just to put a bit more on. Right, so here we go. We're going to turn that upside down. We're going to turn it on again. Lights on. And then we're going to start just tapping it and the grass will start coming down from the machine. It's very hard to see it actually coming down, but it is, and it's sticking on top of the other, so you can get it where you don't want it. You can just brush that off a bit later on. So get a little bit around the back is where we want it, just to cover that in a bit. Right, I'll turn that off. I don't know whether you get a kind of a shock. I don't know whether you do. I think it's just because it's static. I'm going to take that out now because I think that's probably enough. Just trying to get that out. That's it. And the head's come off the pin now, which is really useful. Let's get that out there. Take the grass off that, like so. And then I think what I'll do while that's doing that, because there's a bit of a gap there and I don't want that gap, I'm going to put that back on that pin, switch that back on, and give it a fill up the hole where I took that out from. And then close that off a bit like that. Right, take that out there. Now the pin has got to come out, so somewhere here I will have a pair of pliers. So we get the pliers and we put them on there like so, and we're going to try and pull that out like we have there. And just kind of spread that around a bit like so. Right, I'll remove the machine now from there. Need to get another pin, but that's quite easy. I'll just borrow one of my wife's dressmaking pins. I don't tell her, okay? So I'll clear up round here, and this I can just put back in the bag, and then I'll show you close up. I'm going to move some of that off of there, blow that off. A lot of this will just come off anyway as time goes. So this is like a hedge. I think I was talking about that and then got sidetracked. Right, here we go. Summer hedge kit. It's comes ready made on a coil, and you literally just kind of break off and glue around the edge where you want it. So that's that part of it. Right, now where's my man? This is my man that I've painted. So this is the detectorist, and there he is standing in. So I'm going to bring that down now, right down like so, so that you can see him sweeping along with his metal detector. Okay, and anyone that's watched this program, I like it. I just suddenly found it one day, and this is for my new son-in-law. Actually, it's just a little thing, because I went over one day and told him anything, what's all that about, like metal detector, who's interested in that? Anyway, when he's watched the series over twice, because I think there's 2 series, and he's watched every episode at least twice. So there we are. So that is the diorama now with the grass on. Now the next thing, anyone that's watched this program, the next thing is it contains magpies. And magpies are kind of notorious for stealing things that are glittery. Now, these are not magpies, they're mainly pigeons. They're the nearest gauge I could get to it. But what I'm going to do is make longer tails, doctor these tomorrow by using probably a kind of a filler on them, all sorts of things. So I'll put it in the hedge. It might sit up a bit better in the hedge, and it might not, whatever. But they will be painted black, white, and with the little notorious little kind of blue mark that they have, and there will be 6 magpies dotted around this diorama. They do have a significance if you watch the program. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you. You've got to watch it. I don't get no payment for telling them about it, but anyway, that's what's next. So I've got to turn these pigeons into magpies. So that'd be good fun, and see how we get on with them. Paint them, glue them on the diorama, and then the diorama will be complete. So I'll just move that back there like so, bring that in like that, and you can see how that is. So Anyway, I hope you like it, and that's what you can do with one of these static grass feeds. And you can build that up. You can get different grass, different colours, and you can just carry on and on with that until you've turned the whole thing into whatever it is you want it to be. So, and in our case, it was a diorama for the detectorist. Started off with my tree stump, and I showed you how I constructed that. I mean, that's just made out of a card tube. If you watch back on the previous videos that I made, then you'll see how I got to this. And then I'll show you the next video with my transformation from pigeon to magpie. So that's in the next one. So anyway, if you like this, please subscribe. You can click the bell icon, and of course every time I make a video, which is on all different subjects, as people that follow me know, it can be all sorts: card modelling, dioramas, predominantly railway stuff, but I do get involved in other things. The reason I like a diorama is because it's just a kind of a snapshot of one little thing, and you can make something, add as much detail. If you've got cars to display or something you've got that you want to display, building a diorama is a really good way of offsetting that. I believe I've said this before, but it is true. And it can just go on a shelf. It doesn't take up. So if you haven't got a lot of room to make something, you could, if you're into buses, you could buy a bus depot, make the bus depot, dirty it up a bit, put all the paraphernalia that would be around a bus depot, and then put a couple of buses in that, maybe models you've made or whatever. So that's it. That helps with your hobby. That just enhances it, and you could just stick that on a shelf. Even if you can take the buses off and change it for another couple of buses as time goes on, things like that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like if you do. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye now.